You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and always fun to welcome one of my favorite Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kandi Burruss, here to talk to us about a really exciting time in her career when she chose to no longer be a housewife. She's focusing more on acting and producing. If you don't know, she is Tony nominated and now racking up her fourth high profile play that she's producing and has added another TV acting role to her resume. Welcome to the show, Kandi.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm always excited to see you and celebrate you and your latest achievement. Tell us what inspired you to take a break from the drama of Real Housewives of Atlanta to produce a Shakespearean drama on Broadway.
Well, I mean, the drama probably is the main reason that I took a break. But no, the timing of it all lined up last year. So I'll be trying to explain to people. Last year was my contract year. So normally the network is always able to just pick up my option and I just have to go on into the next season. But last year my contract was up and they didn't have any more options. And so I was able to make the choice to not come back. Yes, for those people who all wanted to know, yes, they made me an offer to come back. But I chose not to come back just simply because I wanted to go after my dreams of really building my acting career and taking things to the next level. So, to explain for people that don't know how it works, um, when you become the lead of a show, like if you audition for a lead of a TV show, they want you to give that network first position rights. And because I was on the cast of Real Housewives, I was never able to do that. Like I was never able to audition for any show as a lead character because I could not give up first right. First rights was always for Bravo. Which I'm happy what I did with Bravo. I still have a great relationship and all that's wonderful. I just have other dreams that I'm trying to accomplish, and so I'm just trying to leave myself open to see what I can make happen.
And this wasn't, your first jaunt when it came to Broadway. If I remember correctly, Thoughts of a Colored Man was another show
Hmm.
that you had worked on in the past that sort of
Yes.
inspired you to lean into Broadway a bit more.
Thoughts of a Colored Man was the first Broadway show that I was able to be a producer of. Can you hear me?
I can. Mhm.
Hello.
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
okay. So, Thoughts of a Colored Man was the first one. I'm on my fourth Broadway production right now, but the first one was the most important because that was at a time when, the pandemic had shut Broadway down. And that had never happened in like the history of Broadway. It's something crazy, or either the last time it happened was like probably, I don't know, some crazy amount of years ago before we were even born. Um, so when we came back with Thoughts of a Colored Man, not only was it one of the first shows to bring Broadway back, but it was the first time ever seven black men starred on Broadway. You know,
Really?
which was important for the culture. You know what I mean? For us
Hmm.
to um, make Broadway come back different, because for so many years people looked at Broadway as the great white way. You know what I mean? And that is because not as many of us, had the opportunity, or to not necessarily not about not having opportunity, but there weren't as many shows that starred us. And not only that, but that were produced by us, you know. So, it was to me what we did with that first one was important. And then all the ones to come after were important as well. We did the piano lesson, which broke records. Um, while we were the highest grossing show for like weeks while we were on. And what a lot of people didn't understand about it was 70% of our ticket buyers for the piano lesson were from first time um, Broadway viewers, for people who had never even seen a Broadway show before.
Really?
Yes. So that means y'all showed up and showed out, basically. You know what I mean? Which is important because if we want our stories to be told, if we want more shows that star, people of color or that are produced by people of color, they also have to have the ticket sales to support that, or else we won't get the support that we need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that, the shows that I've been able to be a part of, that the people who support me, they come out. You know what I mean? They come out to support the show, and not just the people that support me, but we go about producing our shows in a different way. You know, um, I think I've helped by bringing some of the old school ways of how we promote in music industry, like back in the day, how we used to go to all the little smaller markets to do radio interviews or interviews to tell people about our music. We used to go all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we take that same mentality and how we produce the shows, that myself and Brian Moreland and Todd, whenever we come aboard, we take that same mentality. So doing interviews in places that normally, people who are doing Broadway don't go to promote it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? We're there talking about our shows, and bringing people there to let them know, yes, this is also a place for you. You know what I mean? Because I don't think, um, it wasn't always normalized that, you go to, other cities and, especially platforms, that of people of color to promote a Broadway show.
Amen. Amen. Right.
That wasn't
We
the norm before.
it wasn't, and we definitely feel the difference, and we appreciate you being an industry leader in that way as well. You mentioned the piano lesson, one of August Wilson's amazing pieces of work. And
Mhm.
now here you are working on Othello, producing Othello, one of
Yes.
Shakespeare's greatest works. You're really introducing a whole nother audience to Shakespeare with Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal at the helm. What attracted you to Othello? Why did you say, you know what, this is the right project for me? This is the right time.
In the piano lesson, John David Washington was one of our stars of the show. And for those people who don't know, that's Denzel Washington's son. John David has his own resume. He's a very talented actor, standalone actor on his own. But of course, his family would come to the show and support him, and and be a part of it all, right? And then during that time, my producing partner Brian and Denzel started having conversations, and Denzel made it known that he wanted to come back to Broadway himself. And, and this is the project that he wanted to do. And he said, make it happen. Here we are. We made it happen.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I mean, I'm sure it's really special to anyone who's been a fan of Denzel Washington, who has just been like the standard when
Yes.
it comes to acting. What is it like, not just as a producer, but you're an actress in your own right. And so, in preparation for Othello, were there, certain, tips? Were there certain, techniques of Denzel Washington where you're like, oh, okay, peep that.
Well, I'm not in the show. I'm just producing the show. But watching them, meaning Denzel, Jake, and all the other actors that are in our show, because we have some really talented people outside of Jake and Denzel that are in the show. Um, Watching them do their process, little things like Jake Gyllenhaal and I think probably four of the other cast members, maybe three, were totally off book when they came to the table read. I was like, whoa, this how we doing it? Like they, and I don't Shakespeare in the way that it's written is not easy. It's not easy to do.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So to hear them speaking and to make it normal, because the Shakespeare was written, so many years ago, hundreds of years ago, and but we brought the show into current day. Well, it's in the year 2028. That's how the way we set the show. So even though they are speaking in the terms of the way that Shakespeare wrote it originally, you're looking at them and they're wearing current day clothing. The set is current day, everything is current.
Mhm.
So it's giving relatable to us today and allowing us to feel more connected to the show because it's like, okay, now I can see it in my real life terms, you
Yeah.
know? But the only thing about it is, as actors, I know it has to be so hard for them to deliver the lines of Shakespeare and make it normal.
Hmm.
Make it just like, oh, this is how we talk. You know what I mean? But they're doing it and they're doing it in the best way. Like, I don't know if I could have done it like they're doing it, but they're amazing.
But even just that approach is so on brand for you, Candy, in terms of just creating an on ramp for people who may be less familiar with the work, for people who might think, "Oh, I'm not sure if this is for me." Just the
Mhm.
approach to this, it really opens up the audience, and I'm not the only one that's noticed that. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Othello has brought in a massive $2.6 million across the first seven performances on Broadway. The play broke multiple box office records at the Ethel Barrymore Theater, surpassing those set by plays across nine performances and musicals by more than $1 million. $1 million. That's nothing to
Come
snuff
on,
at.
somebody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, it's unbelievable. But obviously, we have a, you know, record breaking team, when you look at Jake and Denzel Washington. But I would have to, say that everybody involved, especially our behind the scenes team, our marketing team, producers, everybody, the plans and the thought that has been put into every step of this to try to make sure that we got the word out about it. Because it doesn't matter if you have these wonderful names if nobody knows, so we are going everywhere to make sure everyone far and wide knows that the show is out here. It's for you. We're making it current for you. We want you to come see it. All of those things are important, and and breaking records and making new trends.
Making new trends indeed. For folks who are less familiar, Othello, the play by William Shakespeare, it's about a general who's manipulated into believing his wife is unfaithful. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Uh,
Yes.
you know, uh, how is it that you hope this performance speaks to current times?
Well, I mean, it's so much about it's deceit. It's people showing you a different face than what they are actually doing behind scenes. All of those themes are really things that actually happen. But you know, the standout thing for a lot of people, is that Othello himself is a Moor, and he's married to a woman who is, she's a young white woman, obviously, which, for a lot of people in the history of the show, back in the day, when they first started doing it, even though Othello was a Moor, they wouldn't even allow Othello to be played by a black man. It was like, white man in black face, years and years ago. So in the way that we as a society have, obviously made positive changes in a way that we can, say, hey, we do want, a true black man to play this role. That's an advance in the world, in society, in culture today. But when you relate it into the world, it's like leaps and bounds. We have to continue to make change in every area of life when it comes to um acceptance and diversity, you know.
Yeah.
But I try to make sure people know that's not what the show, the main core of the show. But because Othello in True Times was a Moor, you have to deal with the fact that yes, he is a black man. It's not a show about race, but people obviously talk
Hmm.
about race when Othello comes up.
Hmm.
But the more thing that the theme of the show is, deceit, dishonor, um, betrayal, and allowing yourself to fall for the games.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, everyone gets to choose. We get to choose how we participate. Stuff happens, but we get
Mhm.
to choose how we participate, and that's one of the exciting elements of the show that I hope to see during my birthday weekend. I'm gonna do a Broadway birthday weekend,
Hey.
and so I want to encourage all of our leaders, learners, and listeners to join me in supporting this incredible Broadway performance of Othello. Kandi, in our remaining minute with you,
Mhm.
uh, I, I want to ask you a little bit more about your legacy. I want to zoom out a little bit. We've talked about the Othello play. Everybody knows you from Real Housewives as co-founder of Escape and
Mhm.
for all the records that you penned. And we love you for it.
Thank
But
you.
when it comes to legacy, what's the legacy that you hope you leave with your kids, Riley, Ace, Blaze, Kayla? You work really hard and you spend a lot of time on the road. At this station in your life, how are you thinking about legacy?
Ooh, I'm trying to make sure that my kids are set up in their, and they know to go after your goals, no matter what it is. So I try to start my kids early in life at what they're trying to do. With Ace, he's already started acting. He's already been on TV shows, trying to show him work ethic and to know, things that don't just come easy. So I think we definitely have shown our children if you can see the thought, you can make it happen. And and that's what we're leaving for them, the way that you could just go after your dreams. Even my little 5-year old, she already been saying for years she wants to be an artist. And I think a lot of people take little children um for granted when they say they want to make art, even especially if it's like looking abstract or whatever. But no, we said, okay, you want to be an artist, we're gonna make you a whole art show. She sold her art, she sold her paintings, like, to teach them how to make your dream a career, you know.
Hmm.
So that is important with my older daughters. Riley has some major things coming up this year, trying to help her get set up and, make sure that, today, we started a Team Riley group chat, with, the people that we want to help her get her career in order to keep going, towards a higher goal, keep taking her to the next level. But, business wise, Todd and I, we talk about it all the time because, like, we start all these businesses and we're like, they're probably not even gonna want to have no dang on restaurant when they get older, or they probably not all gonna want all of, the other things that we're doing. And he's sometimes like, man, we should just sell all this stuff and just put the money in some stock and just let them, have it later because they're not gonna have the same goals and dreams that
Hmm.
we may have. So with that being said, I think it's more important for us to pour into their dreams,
Yeah.
what they want to do, and help them figure it out while we're here, and make sure they're set up so that when we're not here, they, know how to handle things and do it the right way. Um, so that's what I'm trying to make happen.
Double click on doing it the right way. This show is a more perfect union, and we don't become a more perfect union if we don't pour into one another. And so, thank you for being a demonstration of that, not just with your kids, but with all of us that call ourselves Kandi fans.